G'day team, welcome back to yet again another trigonometric video. Today we're going to start looking at the angle sum and difference identities, and these are going to be our last ones that we're going to look at and finish building our little toolkit to help us simplify trig equations. So I've got three to look at here, so it's really important that we're keeping note of the signs inside and the signs over here. Okay, so cosine of A plus or minus B equals cosine of A times cosine of B minus plus sine of A sine of B. Now, if in here is positive, in here is negative. If in here is negative, in here is positive. So the tops correlate or correspond and the bottoms correspond as well. That's how you read that. Sine of A plus or minus B, sine A cos B plus or minus cos A sine B. And then finally, tan of A plus or minus B is tan A plus or minus tan B, all divided by 1 minus plus tan A tan B. So a lot of what it is either identifying which one of these we have and then applying it, or finding which one of these we have and then simplifying it back into this form here. So let's have a bit of a look at this. So expand and simplify cos of pi on 2 plus theta. Now, pi on 2 plus theta and cosine, we're up here and we're using the plus version. So I'm going to start by expanding this out. So let's actually write down the formula we're going to use. So cosine of A plus B is equal to cosine of A, cosine of B, and then we've got minus. So remember the signs correspond, so I'm using the plus. So this time I've got to use the minus. Sine of A, sine of B. Okay, now this here is A, this here is B. So let's substitute those values in. So the cosine of pi on 2 plus theta is equal to cosine of pi on 2 times by cosine of theta. Take sine of pi on 2 times by sine of theta. Now, obviously the sine and cosine of thetas we can't do much with, but we know pi on 2 is a pretty special angle in our unit circle. Now that is also 90 degrees. So I know cosine of pi on 2 is actually 0. So this term is 0. And sine of pi on 2 is 1. So I've got 1 times by sine theta. So overall, this just simplifies to negative sine theta. Pretty cool little simplification there. All right, let's have a look at a different example. Now we want to simplify sine of theta take alpha times by cos of 2 alpha plus theta, take cosine of theta take alpha, sine of 2 alpha plus theta. Now, this is where it gets a little bit tricky. All right, we need to identify which one we're using. Now we've got sine, cos, take, cos, sine. Now, sine, cos, take, cos, sine. So this is the one we're going to use. I'm going to use the minus version. So we've got to use the minus version in here. So I've got sine of A take B is equal to sine A cos B take cos A sine B. Now, this is where we've got to be very careful as well. A lot of people will put this as A and this as B, but this whole angle in here is actually A, and this whole angle in here is actually B. So this means I've got sine of theta take alpha minus all of 2 alpha plus theta. Okay, so this is my A, this is my B. When I've got two terms, it's really important to put those brackets because that negative is going to hit both. So I've got sine theta take alpha, take 2 alpha, take theta. Now the 2 thetas are going to cancel out and I can bring together the alphas. So I'm left with sine negative 3 alpha. Okay, and that's essentially all we're doing. Okay, so just identifying which one we have and using the known formulas to simplify. Hopefully, nice quick video. Hopefully it helps, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks, guys.